My fiancé of 5 years came back from a girls' trip asking for an open relationship. When I demanded to see her phone, I found messages with Blake. But when I ended it and Blake ghosted her a week later, she came crawling back, begging for forgiveness. I'm 28 years old. I work in digital marketing, and about 6 months ago, I ended a 5-year relationship with the woman I thought was going to be my wife. We were engaged, with a ring and everything, and I was there thinking about venues for the wedding and how we were going to decorate our first house together. The thing is that everything went to shit in literally 1 week. And when I say it went to shit, I mean, it went from planning my future to packing her stuff in boxes in less time than it takes you to watch a season of any Netflix series. I guess I should start from the beginning, or at least from when things started getting weird. Megan and I had been together since college, like we met at a party sophomore year. You know, one of those where everyone's drinking cheap beer and pretending they're having a better time than they really are. She was studying graphic design, I was in communications, and I don't know, we just connected. We went from that first, random, conversation about I don't know what band we both liked, to officially dating like a month later, and from there we never really separated. We moved in together after graduating, got a small but decent apartment downtown, adopted a cat named Mr. Whiskers. Terrible name, I know, but she insisted. And basically built a life together for 5 full years. Everything seemed to be going well, seriously. I mean, we had our occasional fights like any normal couple, like who forgot to take out the trash or why I always left dirty dishes in the sink, but nothing serious. You know what I mean? I proposed to her like a year and a half ago, on a trip we took to the mountains. Nothing super elaborate, but it was nice, and she cried and said yes. And I thought, okay, perfect. This is my person. This is what I want for the rest of my life. My parents adored her. Her parents treated me like another son. Our friends always said we were the perfect couple, and I honestly believed it. Then came this girls' trip she planned with her friends. It didn't bother me at all. Honestly, like she deserved to go out and have fun. I had planned to stay home playing video games and eating pizza all week, basically living my best temporary bachelor life. The trip was to the beach, like 4 days, Friday to Monday. And she was super excited because it had been a while since she disconnected like that with her friends. I took her to the airport. We said goodbye normally. She told me I love you, see you Monday, and I went home thinking everything was perfect. The first 2 days of the trip were normal. She sent me occasional photos of the beach, of the food they were eating, the kind of things you send when you're on vacation. We talked on the phone a couple of times, short conversations because she was busy or the hotel Wi-Fi was bad or whatever, all good up to that point. But on Sunday, something changed. She stopped responding to my messages as frequently, and when she did, the responses were, like super short, almost cold. I asked her if everything was okay, and she said yes, that she was just tired, that they had gone out a lot. Okay, I thought. Makes sense. She's on vacation and probably drinking more than usual. It's not weird for her to be exhausted. On Monday, I picked her up from the airport, and that's when I really noticed. Something was wrong. She looked different. I don't know how to explain it. Like distant. In the car, she barely talked, just looked at her phone constantly. And when I asked her how she had a good time, she gave me super vague answers like, good, it was fun. I'll tell you later. We got to the apartment, and she literally locked herself in the bathroom for like half an hour with her phone. I was out there thinking, what the hell is going on? Did she get sick? Did she fight with her friends? Did something happen on the trip that she doesn't want to tell me? The next 2 days were basically the same. Her glued to her phone all the time, typing messages, constantly, smiling at the screen in a way that made me uncomfortable. And when I asked her what she was doing or who she was talking to so much, she said things like, oh, just the girls from the trip. We're sharing photos. Or my mom is sending me jokes, nothing important. But I knew something didn't add up because she had never been like that with her phone. Like she was always one of those who left it lying around and didn't pay much attention to it. And suddenly, it was like the phone was an extension of her hand. Wednesday night, she came home from work and told me we needed to talk. I immediately felt that knot in my stomach. Because nothing good starts with, we need to talk. We sat on the couch and she started with this super rehearsed speech about how she had been thinking a lot during the trip, about us, about our relationship, about the future. And I was there like, okay, where is this going? She kept talking, saying things about how we had become very comfortable, very predictable, that she felt we were missing excitement, that she wanted to explore more before getting married. And then she dropped the bomb. She told me, literally these words, I'll never forget, that she had been researching open relationships and thought it would be good for us, that it would make us stronger as a couple, that many people did it, and it worked perfectly. I sat there unable to process what I had just heard. Open relationship? After 5 years together and with wedding plans? I asked her where that idea had come from so suddenly, and she told me she had been talking with her friends, on the trip, about different types of relationships, that she had read articles, that she thought it was something worth trying. I told her no, directly, that I wasn't interested in that at all, that if she wanted to be with other people, then maybe we shouldn't be together. And then she started crying, saying I didn't understand her, that I wasn't being open-minded, that she loved me, but I needed this. The truth is that at that moment something clicked in my head. Everything started to make sense suddenly. The weird behavior, the phone, the distance. I asked her directly, is there someone else? Did you meet someone on the trip? She shook her head, but I could see in her eyes she was lying. I told her to tell me the truth, that if we were going to have this conversation, at least she could be honest with me. She kept denying it, saying no, that she had just been thinking about this, that it had nothing to do with anyone else. But I didn't believe her anymore. I told her I needed her to leave the apartment that night. She became hysterical, literally hysterical, screaming that I was overreacting, that we could talk about this like adults, that she had nowhere to go. I told her to go to her parents' or to a friend's place, but she couldn't stay there that night because I needed space to think. She packed a suitcase while crying, saying over and over that this was a mistake, that I was being irrational. She called a friend and left around 11 at night, and I was left there alone in the apartment, looking at the engagement ring that was still on her finger when she walked out the door. The next few days were total hell. She called me like 10 times a day, sent messages saying she was sorry, that she had made a mistake, that she wanted us to talk. Her friends also started contacting me, telling me I was being too hard on her, that everyone makes mistakes, that I should at least listen to her. My phone wouldn't stop ringing and I basically didn't sleep for like 3 nights straight, just turning everything over in my head, trying to understand what had happened to the person I thought I knew. I finally agreed to meet her at a cafe near the apartment. It was like the following Saturday, I think, a week after she left. She arrived with red eyes, looked terrible, and started again with the apologies that it had been stupid, that she didn't know what she was thinking, that she loved me and wanted things to go back to the way they were before. I let her talk for a while, and then I told her what I had been thinking all week. I told her I needed to see her phone, right there, without deleting anything. She went pale. I literally saw her lose color in her face and started with excuses about privacy and trust. I told her that if she had nothing to hide, then there shouldn't be a problem, and that if she didn't show me the phone, I was going to assume the worst and end the relationship anyway. She hesitated for like 2 minutes that felt eternal, looking at her phone on the table between us, and finally passed it to me. I went directly to her messages and didn't have to search much. There was a chat with a guy named Blake. And when I say it was obvious what was going on, it's because it was obvious. Messages from the whole past week, since the trip, flirty messages, him telling her she was beautiful, her sending him photos, thank God not those kind of photos, but photos of her at the beach, selfies, that kind of thing, conversations about meeting up when she got back home, about how they both felt a special connection. There was literally a message from him asking her if she had already talked to me about opening the relationship, and her responding yes, that she had done it but that I hadn't taken it well. I put the phone on the table and looked at her. She was crying again, saying she could explain it, that it wasn't what it seemed, that they had just been talking, that nothing physical had happened. I asked her who Blake was, and she told me she had met him at a bar during the trip, that they had been talking, that they got along well, but nothing more had happened. I said, "So why did you ask me for an open relationship instead of just telling me you wanted to be with this guy?" She had no answer for that, or, well, her answer was that she didn't want to lose me, that she thought we could make it work somehow. I got up from the table, told her it was over, that we were officially breaking up right there, and that I would come by the apartment next week to pick up her remaining things. She tried to stop me, grabbing my arm, saying we could go to couples therapy, that we could get through this. I just pulled away and left the cafe without looking back. I walked like 10 blocks before realizing it was raining and I didn't have an umbrella. But honestly, I didn't care. I needed to clear my head. When I got home, I blocked her number, blocked her on all social media, on WhatsApp, on Instagram, on Facebook, on everything. I didn't want to know anything about her. Didn't want to see her messages. Didn't want her to have any way to contact me. Some of my friends told me I was being extreme, but I knew it was what I needed to do to be able to start getting over this. If I left even a small window open for her to communicate, she was going to use it, and I needed a clean break. What happened next was almost comical in how predictable it was. Literally 2 days after blocking her, I started seeing on social media, through mutual friends, I didn't immediately block, that she was already going out with Blake. Photos of them together, posts about how sometimes you meet someone at the right time, all that garbage. I was there thinking, wow, she didn't even wait a week, didn't even try to hide it a little. But I also felt relieved in a weird way because it confirmed that I had made the right decision. You know what I mean? The most satisfying part, if you can call it that, came like a week and a half later. Turns out Blake turned out to be a complete asshole, surprise, surprise, and basically ghosted her after sleeping with her a couple of times. A mutual friend told me that Megan was devastated, that Blake had stopped responding to her messages overnight, that he had probably just wanted her for that, and when he got what he wanted, he disappeared. Part of me felt sorry for her. I'm not going to lie, but another bigger part thought, well, this is exactly what you deserve for destroying a 5-year relationship for a guy you met at a bar. After that, she tried to contact me again, this time through friends, asking them to tell me she needed to talk to me, that she had made the biggest mistake of her life, that she missed me, basically all the emotional manipulation you can imagine. I told all the mutual friends who contacted me with her messages that I wasn't interested, to please respect my decision to have no contact with her. Some understood. Others told me I was being too harsh, and that I should at least listen to her. Those friends, I also eventually cut off because I realized that if they couldn't respect my boundaries, then they weren't really my friends. I organized everything for her to pick up her stuff from the apartment. I packed everything in boxes, literally everything that was hers or that we had bought together, and I didn't want. Clothes, books, decorations, framed photos of us, everything. I left it all at the entrance of the apartment and sent her a message through a friend saying she could come pick it up on Saturday at 10 in the morning. I told her specifically that I wasn't going to be there, that I was going to leave the key with a neighbor, and that she had 1 hour to pick everything up and leave the key back. But I lied about not being there. I stayed inside, in the bedroom, because I wanted to make sure she actually took everything and didn't try to leave things to have an excuse to come back later. I heard her arrive, enter, and start carrying the boxes to her car. At one point, she knocked on the bedroom door, saying my name, asking if I was there. I didn't respond, just stayed there, sitting in silence, until she finally gave up and left. That was the last time I saw or heard her voice in person. The following weeks were about cleaning up everything that remained of the relationship. I canceled the shared subscriptions we had, Netflix, Spotify, that kind of thing. I removed all the photos of us from my Instagram and Facebook. I didn't delete them completely, but archived them because I felt that erasing 5 years of my life wasn't healthy either. I started going out more with my friends, the ones who really stayed by my side through all this, and little by little, I started feeling like myself again. There was extra drama because she was apparently telling people her version of the story, playing the victim, saying I had been inflexible and that I had kicked her out for no reason, conveniently leaving out the whole part about the other guy and the messages. Some mutual friends who didn't know the whole story contacted me asking what had really happened, and I told them my version, but without going into too much detail because honestly I was already tired of all the drama. The ones who believed me stayed in my life. The ones who preferred to believe her just drifted away. And it's fine. I guess that's how you find out who your real friends are. Now, 6 months later, I can honestly say, I'm fine. Not perfect, but fine. There are days where I still think about everything that happened and wonder if I could have done something different, if there were signs I ignored, if somehow I could have avoided all this. but most days I'm okay. I'm focused on my work, on my friends, on building a life that's mine and not ours. I sold the engagement ring. By the way, I couldn't keep seeing it in the drawer every time I looked for something. I used the money to buy myself a motorcycle, something I always wanted but never bought because Megan thought they were dangerous. The weirdest thing about all this is that I don't miss her as much as I thought I would. I miss the idea of her, I guess. I miss having someone to come home to and tell about my day. I miss having shared future plans, but I don't miss her specifically, not after everything she did. And that tells me everything I need to know about whether I made the right decision or not. Last week, I ran into one of her friends at the supermarket, by chance, and she told me that Megan is dating someone new, someone different, and that apparently now she is in a normal, closed relationship. She told me this like expecting me to react somehow, as if I was going to be jealous or upset, but honestly I just thought, well, I hope this time she doesn't screw it up. I don't wish anything bad on her, seriously, but I also don't care what she does with her life. It's not my problem anymore, she's not my person anymore, and I'm perfectly fine with that.